the, I don't connect directly to servers or anything else. I connect through all of the,
You just going through the Wi-Fi?
yep. That's how I have to connect everything, servers and everything. We don't have cable drops. We did when we were on the making Bibb stuff, but we don't now. Good morning. We're waiting on a few people to join us here, so the rest of the crew should be along shortly. I'm letting the fire department in now. Let's see. We'll start with 516 Hall, and then we'll just go with each of the others. Some of the things are going to be based on, some of the things are going to be across the board, but then some things are going to be site specific. I did a little research and looked at your site and noticed that you know, it's got some proposals for things, and let's see, in Macon already. So I'll share my screen once we get everyone on and stuff. But I'm guessing, are we talking about, on your site, you talk about the Macon, the tiny home community? Is that what we're kind of looking for right now on these, or are we looking at something different? Okay. 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 The actual single family things, you can't tell the difference in those. Those are very interesting looking. Let's see. Right, can just, you can change the skin.
Just one quick question, looking over the code real quick. I assume all these sites are served by public sewer already?
Yeah, we'll discuss that with Algernon as he logs in too.
Okay.
James is logging in. I have more questions. From a zoning perspective, I mean, we're gonna look at where it's placed in relationship to property lines and things of that nature and land use. But the building code is, you know, I'm not sure how they're treating the container homes and things at the moment. So we'll do a round of introductions. It looks like we're all getting logged in, and I need to change my name on here. Anticipate that our executive director Jim Thomas will be joining us as well as Keith Fraswell. Let's see. We can go ahead and get started. We're missing, like I said, our executive director Jim Thomas will probably jump in here in a few minutes, and Brenda Thomas, Chief of Fire Prevention, is on. Willie Johnson's on with fire. And I anticipate that Keith Bryce with the county engineer's office and our executive director will jump on shortly. So if you want to just start telling us something about about what we're proposing, and then I'll do the share the screen and stuff. I'm going to share my screen now, so y'all bear with me. And then and it takes my computer a few minutes because connect through Wi-Fi. Let's see. Can you see my screen yet? Okay.
What's the address there?
This one is at 516, so we've got a couple. We've got 516 Hall Street, we've got 536 Hall Street, and then we're going to be looking at 1136 Bailey, 1180 Bailey, and we're going to look at 825 Woolfolk as well. So this is the 516 Hall here, and this is the 536 Hall. So from a zoning perspective, you know, duplexes are allowed, provided that the lot area is done. I know we don't have any, I don't think we have any site plans. Give me just a second. Let me look here. This is the Sunrise development that we had. Okay. Okay, I did not see that one. Give me just a second and let me look for it really quick. I did not see that one when I was doing it. Did it come from info, like the others did? Okay. Let's see, on the 22nd is this one. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, it's the 24th. And then on the description, here we go. I did not, that one got lost in translation. Okay, I'm downloading these and putting them so that we can look at each of them, okay? It is in the process of downloading. I do apologize for the delay. I said when I was looking at the, you had some really interesting stuff in here. Right. And they're coming up now. It took a minute. It's taken a minute for them to load for my computer, and I do apologize for that. I think one of those failed to download for me. I'm trying to download it again. I think that the 516 should be up. Yeah, they're unconfirmed right now. They're in the process. Yeah, I do apologize. Yes, I could. Wait, what I could do is drag my email over. We can do it that way. There's more than one way to get around something. So until they finish downloading and I actually open the PDF entirely, you can look at them this way. So this is 516 Hall. So um, it looks like you're proposing to place it 50 feet back from Hall Street. Now, what is the 20-foot easement that I'm seeing? Regulations and stuff, yeah. Okay. So from a zoning perspective, we'll look at the codes and stuff in a few minutes, but we probably need to look at, you know, the availability of water and sewer, your fire stuff and traffic, as well as the building code department. Algernon, do you want to jump in? Is he on?
I'm here.
Okay. You wanna
Sorry,
jump
I was
in?
unmuting, and so I was frantically trying to look at our GIS map to see what's available. These are old established neighborhoods, as was mentioned. So there are water and sewer infrastructure available to at least Hall Street, what I'm seeing, also Bailey Avenue. Uh, so one of the main issues that we're going to run into is trying to find the old sanitary sewer lateral that used to exist for the if there normally there was an older home that was probably demolished at this point. So ideally what you would do is we'll try to research and figure out what information we have in terms of the old records of the location of the lateral, maybe the distance from the manhole. That way you can find that lateral on the property and tie back into it. That's to avoid making another sanitary sewer tap connection to the main in the street. That's just additional cost that you would incur if you have to go into the street, because most of these mains in these old neighborhoods, they are under the pavement. So you have to employ a licensed plumber to cut into the asphalt and dig down to the sewer main, make the tap connection, which requires an inspection also, and then repatching uh, based on the standards of making Bibb County Engineering Department for the right of way. Um, but hopefully, and if we're lucky enough, we can find the old stub outs. They may be buried, but at least we'll do what we can in our uh, to research our records to see if we can find the distances. At least you'll know where to start digging. Uh, these projects won't incur a sanitary sewer tap fee. That they were old established homes previously. You just need to make the connection and pay your contractor or plumber to do what has to be done. We have no requirements in terms of uh, plan review fee. You sounds like with some of the footprints of these smaller lots, you won't add more than 5,000 square foot of impervious. That's the threshold. If you add more than 5,000 square foot of impervious, then you get into managing the stormwater on site, and you have to actually have a plan by a design professional uh, to manage that stormwater. And you would just follow best management practices in regards to erosion control. So if there's any land disturbance, which of course is going to be less than an acre, um, you may just have to have some silt fence or protect some inlets for stormwater, rainwater close to the site. I am showing there are some private storm drain pipes on the backside of the properties. Uh, Probably a good idea to inventory that infrastructure, take a look at the condition of it, because you don't want any drainage problems um, on your property. You know, you've got a nice new duplex home there, and in the back of the yard is flooding out because the pipe infrastructure is caved in or what have you. That's uh, more than likely private infrastructure. So those pipes are pretty old. Probably need to take a look at them and see if they're properly draining the rainwater off site. Um, so there really is not much you would have to do with us in terms of the Macon Water Authority. A lot of the old water meter services, they're probably terminated or disconnected at this point in time. So we just have to take a look at each individual lot and, you know, have our water distribution department or meter reading department to go out and assess what's going to be required for each location. Some of the old boxes may have been pulled out, copper service is buried, and we'll have to do a cost estimate specific for each lot to see what's required to restore that meter service, get a new box and for that lot. We won't know that until, you know, you're ready to move forward and ask for that information. Then we'll start doing the research in the field to figure out what's the cost required to restore that service. If we can't find the old service, or it requires if it's been totally decommissioned, we'll have to do a new tapping set from the water main. And we do know those standard costs. The 5/8" meter is a standard $1,290, $1,290 for each meter service. The duplex, if you want them separately metered, that means $1,290 for each meter for both units. Now, once you get into some of the larger projects where you have 3 or more units, that's another threshold. 3 or more units, you're required to comply with our backflow prevention program. So behind those water meters, you have to have a backflow device, which is a reduced pressure zone, RPZ backflow device, to be installed behind the water meter. That's if that one unit feeds the 3 or more altogether. If you have 3 separate meters, then that throws it out the ball game altogether. But if one water service feeds 3 or more units, then you have to comply with backflow prevention program, have one installed, have it tested annually to stay in compliance. Uh, that's pretty much it in terms of Macon Water Authority, unless you have any other questions for me at this time.
No, I don't have any questions right now.
Okay, no problem. That's it, Randy.
Okay, did Keith join us yet?
I'm here.
Okay, hey Keith, question real quick. Temple Drive and back here, is it more of an alley and it looks like it maybe stops, or just curious, because some of that's going to affect what I have to tell them a little bit too.
Randy, don't have a ready answer for you there. That's old neighborhoods that I'm totally unfamiliar with. We'd have to do a little looking into that to see.
Okay.
Regarding our interest in these developments, Algernon's touched on some of the areas that we classically would handle, Ms. Lewis, but we're transitioning over to them for stormwater and erosion control programming. They're all under an acre, so they don't require a permit. As Algernon said, for site development, you would want to have your plan prepared, submit a plan for us. Our biggest interest going forward is going to be to see where your driveways are and that they meet the standards, and traffic will look at those as well. So we'll need a copy of site plans when you get to the stage of construction, but they won't require land disturbance permits, nor will they require a full plan review. We'll just need to be aware of what's going on. It's be pretty minimal overview from our end. We'll be glad to assist in providing guidance if you get into any situations that as developing site plans, but we would want to see the site plan, the placement of all the improvements on all lots.
What,
Randy, I'll be glad to look into Temple Drive and get back with you later on that and any of those other adjoining properties.
so
Engineering,
county engineer, okay. So from a zoning perspective, Hall Street's gonna be a little bit, 516 Hall is gonna be a little bit, more complicated than some of the others probably. This property line is also a right-of-way line. This is the right-of-way to that little alley street to the rear, and then you've got a right-of-way here. Let me get over to the map. So you're looking at Center Street here. This is 516. So you're looking at Center Street, you're looking at Hall Street, and then you've got even though it may not go all the way down, you've got a right-of-way for Temple Drive back there. From a zoning perspective, screen here. Just a sec. Trying to relocate my little bar there so I don't. There we go. So in an R2 district, you're going to be looking at some setback issues, not from the front, not from the rear, but from your sides. That left side of 516 is a minor right-of-way for Center Street, and it should be 25 feet. These are such small lots. There's no way to get 25 feet there and actually stick something in. And on the other one, you should have 10 feet. So you're showing 3 feet and 3 feet. This one, from a zoning perspective, doesn't cause me that much heartburn. This one maybe does. I'm going to defer to Jim on some things with that. But you're also going to have, because of this, the distance to the street, you're going to have some stuff with building codes that James Metzger will jump in on. But from a zoning perspective, this is in the East Macon ECD target area, and that does give us some greater leniency on certain things. Based on, these are existing lots of record. They're smaller, anything that goes on them is going to require variances. They would be able to, provided they meet things, other stuff in the neighborhood or historically, we can grant, we can be more lenient on setbacks and other things than we can on lots that might be legal lots of record, but are not in the target areas. These are duplexes. I don't know that you meet the requirements entirely, but there again, the leniency on that is based off of it being in an ECD target area. Jim, do you have any, Thomas, do you have any comments or anything like that for 516 particularly? Oh, okay. So they're not the actual houses. Okay. So are they connected to the house, or are they more of an accessory like a greenhouse? Yes, from a zoning perspective, we would consider those accessories. They do need to be 20 feet from the house and 5 feet from a property line, but you could put them somewhere else on the lot too. So do it as a community garden type. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I wasn't sure. I thought maybe they might be some type of part of the house. I was not sure exactly. I saw they said container, but I was not sure exactly what they were. So in that case, you probably, you more than meet the 5 feet here then, and probably pretty close to the 25, because if this is 15, maybe 3 to there, you're probably getting close to 15 to 20 total between here and there. We're looking at, what's that? There's a total of 15, but it's inset sum. You've got 3, so just say 12. You're at least 15 feet, it looks like, from Center Street there. So from a zoning perspective, that shouldn't be a problem. It's a permitted use. It's an R2, and we just issue a zoning permit. It's $375 per location. You submit the application, the site plan similar to this, and we issue the zoning permit.
Randy,
Now-
Randy, can I ask?
Yes.
I'm confused. Surprise. The structure the residence you're showing here, what type of construction will that be? Is this a modular home? Is it a container? Is it a shipping container that's been reconfigured, or what? Okay.
So essentially, it is a modular home, and that it's being built somewhere else and then brought in place with minor stuff done.
Okay. So how does the DCA classify this?
So they
Okay.
they wouldn't consider it to be an industrialized home at this point. Facility. So that then gets to the point of how the building code department is also going to classify it.
Yeah. Let me ask: is that Ms. Lewis? Will that be installed on a permanent site-built foundation? Okay. 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 So do we have Randy, do we have a visual of that unit?
I don't know that we have one of that particular unit. I think they were seeking some guidance from us on what type of facade skin they would need to house them in, because they have several different. Hold on just a minute.
Well, quite frankly, we're in kind of uncharted territory here from a
Territory, yeah.
zoning standpoint. So,
So
it's,
this is also one, they can put any type of facade on it and wrap it.
okay. So, I mean, which of these we're seeing would be that unit we were just looking at on Hall Street?
I'm thinking probably. Hold on just
Okay.
a sec. Was it in the email with the last one? Okay. Okay. And there's an email that has a cute, but I think that might have been the pod. Hold on a sec. Yeah. Okay, so give me a
Well,
second. Let me run
okay.
down through.
Let me,
I'll let Jim talk while I look.
yeah. This is not, I don't think any of these sites are in a historic zoning district, so there's less concern about the exterior appearance from a regulatory standpoint. Of course, a commission, I mean, we want you to, want to fit in the, to the existing areas as best it can. But the more important issue is that how that structure is classified. If it's classified as a manufactured home, then that's a problem.
Well, yeah, and I was really considering that they were going to be assembled on site, or that you were already classified as an industrialized dwelling, because those, from a zoning perspective, if it's built on site, then it's not a manufactured home.
Right.
Or if it's an industrialized, even though it's built in a factory, it's a DCA industrialized house, we treat those no differently than we do a site built. So,
Well, we definitely need to hear from Jim Metzger's, but it also, it's going to be kind of critical on how DCA classifies this house,
mhm,
this type of
exactly.
structure. Yeah. Okay.
So there we go.
Well, I'm not sure that it's that it's built on site. It's really what building codes apply or don't apply. It's really if even if you're built on site, the local building codes have to apply. So that's something Jim will have to address. But if you get a DCA certification, then it's like an industrialized building that's built off site and brought to the site, then that's fine too from a zoning standpoint. But what I'm hearing you say is that that's in the works and you won't know for a while how they're going to handle these. Is that correct? Okay.
Jim Metzger, are you there?
Yes, hi, my name is Jim Metzger. I'm the plans examiner here at Macon, Bibb County. So modulars are fine. Normally when they're at the plant, they get inspected at the plant in accordance with whatever year and edition it is. That certificate will come with that modular unit. And once it's brought on site and set, we will do all the inspections for the connections, the sewer, the electrical, the plumbing.
What if they're not building it in a plant? What if they're planning to build it on site? How would you treat it and inspect it at that point, Jim?
Well, then it would just be a set of plans that would be submitted to the office, and we would do the regular inspections for any single family dwelling or duplex like we normally do.
Okay. So from the zoning, from a building code perspective, if they're building it on site, you'd still consider it a site-built house so long as it met the standards for building a duplex or anything else.
Yes.
So it doesn't
they
matter
will.
that it's containers that are done. You'd have the engineered drawings and go through those.
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
So let me ask something else, Jim. You would, since these are, and I don't know what the process is lately for duplexes or single family, so I'm asking this in one way, just for us to know, not just this project. Are you guys doing standard site build 2x4, 2x6 construction and stuff? Are you guys doing a plan review of the houses at this point for single family and duplex plans, or?
So for the single family dwellings, the only thing that we require at submission is the drawings that they submit to your office, zoning and planning. It's not required to have a set of plans and have a plan review on a single family dwelling. We just need to see the square footage and the footprint of it so that when they're going out and doing inspections, everything matches up at that time.
Okay.
Normally,
What about with a duplex?
I'm sorry?
What about with a duplex?
A duplex is a little bit different because it would be an apartment. If you have an above or below, then they would have to submit drawings to the office and submission for application for permit.
Okay, so regardless of whether it's this type of container, I mean, whether it's something like this or whether it's standard construction, it would be, or traditional construction, the duplex is going to require stamp plans and submitted for review, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
So as long as the architect is licensed in Georgia, then he can definitely stamp those and submit them.
From a zoning perspective, we don't generally require stamp plans, but from the building code, and that's why I was wanting to make sure the difference between a single family versus the duplex type thing, because from the zoning perspective, they're both permitted. A single family and a duplex are permitted uses in the district. But I wasn't sure, I knew there was a higher standard for a duplex, and I didn't think it really didn't matter whether it was an alternative construction or whether it's traditional, that they were going to need the stamp plans. But I wanted to clarify that. So Jim Thomas and Jim Metzger, on this, if they're doing them on site, you would treat it, Jim, as any other duplex. If they're doing
Yes.
them on site, you're going to treat it as any other duplex. It's just, we don't care that their framing is basically a container. It's how everything else is hooked together, how it's anchored, and things of that nature. Correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So Jim, in that sense, then to us, I would say that it's still a permitted use as a duplex, provided it meets the other requirements. Is
Sure,
that
I mean,
how
we-
you would interpret that?
Oh, sure, that it's,
Okay.
the zoning doesn't get into how the structure is built unless, the only, like I said, the only thing is whether it's a modular home, whether it's a manufactured home
Yeah, versus the
versus a industrialized, with a
or
DCA
site
stamp.
build.
Yeah, or a site built, yeah. So we look at it, unless it's a manufactured home, we just look at it as any other duplex or single family as far as setbacks and all that. And, whether they use containers or standard construction or whatever, that's between the applicant and the building official.
Right. So for this project, since you don't have the certificate for industrialized house yet, from a zoning perspective, you would need to go through the process of it being site built and the stamp plans to the building code department. Yes, from a zoning perspective, you're going to basically have the same thing. You're going to tell me which DCA plan it is and have the documentation that it's a DCA home and that it's going to be put up. And then when you pull your building permit, I'm not sure exactly what James and them require, but I think it's basically how to set it and things like that. And you're going to get your construction code permit. So I'm going to let him speak to that.
So on the submissions for those, we have a couple ways you can do it. You can do hard copies here at the office, or we have a portal with Community Core where you can set yourself up an account and everything can be done digitally. The containers, we would need stamp drawings and the whole complete package that goes with with a new duplex. The single family dwellings would only be a small drawing of what's submitted to planning and zoning, and it would be permitted for each building.
Okay, James, once they actually get their DCA certifications, at that point, what would their process be with you guys? After they get their zoning permit, what would their process be for a building permit?
So they would show us the certificate from them, indicating that it was inspected and it passed all inspections while it was there. They would submit that with their foundation plan, and then also all the connections that are going to go with that structure. Now, Jessica, the other thing that we do here is you can always schedule a pre-submittal meeting with the building and fire department. We hold these on Tuesdays and Thursdays as well. You could email us or give us a call, and right before you're ready to submit, we can iron some things out and take a look at to see what you have as a preliminary plan. And it's great to have these meetings. We iron out a lot of issues prior to submission, so that the submission is a lot smoother and review process.
Yep, this is it.
Great.
Some of the other departments, Trey, Keith,
Yeah,
Willie.
I'll jump in. This is Trevo with Macon Bibb Traffic Engineering. On one of the site plan don't show any driveway and source.
Let's see.
I think each property requires an off-street parking, adequate off-street parking. So make sure that you put that in mind. And
Let's see, I'm gonna
you know,
get
on the
down.
back on the site plan, it's showing that I don't see any driveway or anything like that, or there's no garage, right? On 3 boxes, okay. That's, yeah.
And that's something that the zoning handles. Is, I mean, I don't think, I mean, every single family or duplex that we do, you know, it's got to have basically a room for two
Two
parking.
parking spaces.
Yeah, so you won't have to get a special approval from the traffic engineering for that, but that's something that we would require just by code. So
Yeah,
That's all I have.
okay. Willie?
From a fire side, mostly of single family dwellings we don't normally get involved with, but since now these are gonna be containers, then you're gonna wind up dressing it up and putting other kind of coverings over it. I guess for us, we just need to make sure we know when y'all do them and what you got, because our firefighter operation will be different now. It's not wood frame behind there. You got a metal building behind whatever you have on the front. So for us, we just need, just notification and documentation of what of exactly what you have. And we'll probably come on site to see, we will probably come on site on each one of those as you do them. And so that we can,
James
see
and
what-
Willie too, on this and looking at these, I had originally thought that they were they were only gonna have 3 feet, but just to be on the safe side, what are you guys gonna require for something like this for your setbacks from your property lines, your interior property lines? Not from the zoning code, but from a building code, what are you looking at?
Well, their fire separation distance from the property line is just gonna be based off of the table. If it's within that 5 feet, then they will have to need a 1 hour rating, but it'll just be based off of that table, whatever their fire separation distance will be.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna pull up the one for 536. I think I'm gonna have to do that from my email. Give me just a moment.
Hey, Randy, this is Keith again. While you're pulling that up, I've been doing some research. The street you referred to as Temple Drive, it's a 20-foot private alley.
Okay. Let's see. I've got to get back to the right. I've got so many windows open, I'm not sure which one's which, guys. Give me just a second here. Let's see.
and you did say that we were your first ones here in Macon. We're the first ones with this project. Enjoy. Wow. Wow. Okay. 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 Okay.
So this one, I just wanted to make sure it's basically the same plan. It's just 2 doors down. It's an interior lot, 536 Hall Street. And the containers on the back, as we discussed, they could go on the lot. They just need to be at least 5 feet from a property line and at least 20 feet from the house from the zoning perspective. I don't see anything that stands out on that one. It appears that it would meet all the requirements as far as setbacks. Let's see, 1180 Bailey, and I'm going to go to 1180 Bailey on the text.
On behalf of those of us on the planning side of the office, thank you for actually looking at the comp plan before you started. If you have questions about the I-16, I-75 developments, ask Randy for my contact information. I will be more than happy to discuss with you. It's my
So-
job to keep track of that stuff.
Yeah. Mike is our planning director. So-
We have a multifamily development that's like this. I'm sure you're aware of on this behind the terminal station on 6th Street. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, this is 1180 Bailey. I didn't see anything, just now when I was looking at the site plan on it that looks any different. It's an interior lot. You're showing Bailey Court back there, but I didn't see. Oh, gosh, sorry. I don't know how I managed to stop screen share. Hold on a sec. Gotta get back to you guys and figure out. Okay. Evidently, I clicked something I didn't mean to click earlier. So give me just a second. Let me know when you guys can see it. Okay, so this is 1180 Bailey here. And I didn't see anything on here that really caused any heartburn, other than, again, the containers, they can go, they just need to be at least 20 feet from the house and 5 feet from a property line. But it looks like other than that, you meet all the setbacks. Algernon, is there water and sewer to Bailey, to these lots? Do you know?
Yes. Public water and sanitary sewer access for all properties.
Okay. Let's see, I'm going to look at, we need to look at 825 Woolfolk.
Let me ask you a crazy question, but what's the difference between this type of project and those tiny home projects? Just
From a zoning perspective, she's putting one duplex per parcel, unlike the stuff that River Edge did, where they actually rezoned it so that they could put multiple tiny homes
Right.
together. That was the difference
Oh.
with them. So let's look at the site. So now we're gonna look at 1136 Bailey. Okay. Okay, give me just a second and let me get back to, let's see. Yeah, this is, I think that's Wolf Oak and it's really fun. Okay, so yeah, and this is Bailey. So you're gonna have you're gonna have two rights of way on Bailey, what we discussed before with the other one, but again, you're more than enough to Bailey Avenue. Bailey Drive is 22 feet. You may need to shift it slightly to get that, but if you can't, we're able to do the variance under that ECD thing still. Same thing with your containers. They just can't go between the house and the street and need to be at least 20 feet from the house, or it requires some variances. But from a zoning perspective, I think they're pretty straightforward once we knew how the building code department would view them. You know, so it depends. If during the process you do one and you're doing it on the site, and then you get your certification stuff with DCA and get it ironed out before you move to the others, then we'd still treat it the same from a zoning perspective. I just need a copy of the the certificate. It wouldn't be any different for us. The problem we would have is if they had considered them to be manufactured housing versus industrialized or site built, then it would cause us some heartburn on because you can't put a manufacturer there. So, and they're not temporary. They're not on a chassis that's going to be hooked up and pulled off. So, I think they're pretty straightforward from a zoning perspective. Now that we know how building code will classify them. Anybody else have any comments, questions? I do have a question for you. I noticed on your website that you had the containers versus steel or something of that nature. And I was just curious about the differences in them, just personal curiosity. And I was trying to remember where I came to from. This was the smart steel. This is what made me wonder what the difference was. So on this one here, it's behind this, or is that the smart steel itself? Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this looks more like shiplap or something, so. Okay. Yeah, your renderings and stuff were all very cool. I enjoyed, but that was my question. When I'm looking at it, I was curious of the difference between container and the smart steel. So that's very cool alternative. Yeah. Oh, cool. Anyone else? Keith? Anyone? Jim?
I'm good.
Okay.
We're fine.
Okay. Do y'all have any questions for any of us?
No, I don't have any questions. She works a lot harder.
That one gets over the 340s, I'll look for a trade, but up over that
We look forward to working with you guys.
right there. That's from the 7.
Once we get through and the recordings get through downloading, it'll probably later this evening or first thing tomorrow. I will send you the link that you can listen to the audio from the meeting. Just for your record, if you need it for reference or anything, as well as a contact sheet for each person.
Hope you all picked it up.
Yes, ma'am. It's from a zoning perspective, it's a very straightforward project. And they go into the planning and zoning commission and none of that. It's just straightforward. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Randy, can you stay on for a second?
I can.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to get it to the point of not recording anymore too. So stop sharing. You
See ya.
too. I'm trying to stop screen sharing.